It's inspiring moments with Kaylin. It's inspiring moments with Kaylin. Come on in. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to the Inspiring Moments with Kaylin live podcast. I am your host, Kaylin John Louis, and I hope everyone has had an amazing Sunday. I am super duper excited to be here tonight. I am just so glad to see another day, to be able to be alive, and to be online with you all. Thank you to those who are tuning in. For those who are coming, we are waiting for you. Come on in. Please make sure you tune in. Just a reminder to please keep washing your hands. Please keep social distancing. And if you are eligible to get the vaccine, please get the vaccine to ensure everyone's safety. Hello, Amaya, who just tuned in to say hello. Happy Sunday to you as well. I am super duper glad everyone is in good health. I'm praying for those who may have contracted COVID or may have any other disease. You will be in prayer. We just want everyone to be safe, and I want to be able to meet you all, be able to actually interact once we get back to a state of normality. So I am just so happy to be on. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin YouTube channel and turn on your post notifications. Next, you can follow me on Instagram at Kaylin Cares 15, on Twitter at Kaylin Cares. You can like me on Facebook at Kaylin's Caring Connection. Link up with me on LinkedIn at Kaylin's Caring Connection. And last but not least, please visit my website, which is www.kaylinscaringconnection.com. On that website, you will be able to find all things Kaylin's Caring Connection, whether it is the reason I started, whether it is about past or upcoming events. You can find the shop where you can purchase the different KCK merchandise. And it is just an amazing site where you can see all things about why I started and wanted to help other people. So go check that out. I ask that if you have any questions right now, or if you just want to chat and say hello, please put it in the chat. We want to be able to see that you're on, and we want it to be interactive so I can hear what your thoughts and what you're thinking. And before I get deep into the topic, I ask right now that you please share this video with others, whether it's on your Facebook feed, whether you send them the link. Please get this out. Please share, because we want so many people to be able to see this and be able to take something out of this topic. Again, thank you to those who are always tuning in and who are always commenting. I do see it, and it makes me so happy just to be able to see an audience, be able to see others being encouraged and being inspired from the show. So thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. Now, if you watched last Sunday, we had Support Sunday for a specific young entrepreneur. It was a phenomenal show, and if you haven't watched it, you can still access it on the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin YouTube channel. You'll be able to see that video, and again, all the other past different shows. We will do the Support Sunday every once in a while. We just want to be able to show support for other entrepreneurs and just be able to show that everyone deserves to be heard. Everybody's ideas, everybody's visions are something to be celebrated. So we will be doing a couple more of those within the couple months. So just tune into those. But for today's topic, let's get right into it. So everything we do with our lives is based on the decisions we make, whether they affect us negatively or positively. The ups and downs in our lives teach us lessons, and from those lessons, we must face reality and grow from our circumstances. However, many find themselves making excuses instead of facing their adversity by blaming others for their mistakes or living in a life of denial. But the truth of the matter is that you and only you are responsible for every decision and choice you make, period. You can't blame your parents, your past relationships, your job, the weather, or the world to stop you from doing what you want to do, and you can't blame it. You can't blame those certain things for the reason why you're in the place you are in your life. You must learn to grow up. So my topic for today is own up to who you are. And I chose this topic because a lot of us right now, we have been in this place of waiting for a long time. And I believe that everybody has learned several things about themselves, from the way of what they like now to what they don't like. They know who they hang out with now and who they don't hang out with. You know a lot of things because you've had a lot of time to do some self reflection and just be able to learn more things about yourself. So, when it comes to owning up to who you are, there are three aspects that I mainly want to focus on, because a lot of times people don't own up to who they are. One, because they're wrong and don't want to face the fact that they're wrong. Two, because they're so focused on blaming God for their mistakes, which is not his fault for anything that you do. And three, because they are scared. They're scared to be confident in who they are, and they lack that self confidence, that self worth. So, the first part, let's focus on people not owning up to who they are because they're wrong. If you're wrong, own up to what you didn't do right. That's as simple as I can put it. If you make a mistake, if you make a bad decision, don't sit there and say you didn't do it and try to make excuses for it. Accept your wrongs, accept what you've done, and learn from them so that you can earn respect for yourself and from others. You can't keep beating yourself up about the same old things, especially if it's something that happened such a long time ago and you're still focused on it. If you know that you made a bad decision, learn from it. Show you can't just keep saying, oh, I'm going to get better. Oh, I'm going to get better. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. But then you don't put any action to it. If you don't physically take it day by day to change what you did wrong, then you're not going to learn from it. You're not going to accept the situation for what it was and take that as a lesson. You're going to see it as an obstacle, and oh, you're going to make up every excuse because you feel like it's not your fault. You're going to try and blame everyone in the whole world for one decision that you made that changed your life, but you want to blame it on other people, which is not right. That's the whole point of owning up to who you are. Because if you're not honest with yourself, if you're not honest about the decisions you make, then you live a life that is not honest. You live a life where you can't even be, if you can't even be straight up with yourself, how you expect other people to believe you? If you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, this is what I need to work on, but everybody else is telling it to you and you don't want to accept it, but you have to. Two, if you're wrong, own up to what you did. And again, don't beat yourself up about it for several long. The more you dwell on a situation, the more that you stay on that situation, the less time you have to grow, the less time you can reflect on it and then move on. Because at the end of the day, you're human. You're going to make mistakes. We've all made mistakes, so many that we can't even count. We make mistakes on a daily basis, and it's okay. You just have to learn how to forgive yourself and move on. You can't dwell on the situation. You have to forgive yourself, forgive the situation, whether it is a situation where you were caught doing something you had no business doing, like doing drugs, or if you were caught with the wrong crowd and you end up being in a situation that you shouldn't have been in. Accept that. Learn from what you did, forgive yourself and the situation, and then it's time to move on. Because the more you stay on that moment and the more you dwell on it, it begins to just sit there and keep replaying and replaying. And it's going to put you back further than you were when you made that wrong decision. Another thing is, when you're wrong, don't play the victim to circumstances that you created. If you know you're wrong and you know you did something, don't try to say, oh, well, if this happened, I wouldn't have been here. If my mom would have told me not to go with that person, I wouldn't have ended up in jail. If that one person told me that they were on drugs while they were driving, we wouldn't have gotten arrested. You have to be smart about your life. You can't constantly play the victim about a situation that you did. Now, I understand if you didn't know anything that was going on, it happened completely abruptly. But if you continuously let that one person in your life and they kept knocking you down and they kept pushing you further and further back, and then it takes you so long to cut them out of your life, that's a situation you created. You can't be mad at the world. You can't be mad at other people for circumstances that you created. You have to forgive yourself and own up to who you are, because the longer that you sit there and try to blame other people, the more it's going to eat you up inside. You may say, "Oh, if I keep putting it on them, I don't have to ever worry about dealing with it myself." But I'm telling you, it's gonna come back to bite you in the butt. So you might as well nip it in the bud and own up to who you are. You either walk inside your story and own it, or you stand outside your story and hustle for your worthiness. Now, let me break that down. You either decide to live your own life full of mistakes, full of flaws, full of things that you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow. You have faith in God that you're going to make it. You choose to walk inside your own story. If people doubt you, if people don't like you, you're not going to allow that to bring you down. You're going to have that moment or two where you may feel like, "Oh, I wish they never said that," but you're going to continue to be who you are. That's the first option. The second option is you can stand outside of who you are. You can act like everybody else. You can try to be everybody else by trying to change your appearance and change your attitude, to act like the status quo, to act like the stereotype. And you'll be fighting every day you'll be trying to, how would I want to put this? You'll have to focus on every day by feeling that you're being attacked, basically. You may feel like, "Oh, this person is coming after me. This person is doing this person is doing that." But if you just own up to who you are, if you own up to your mistakes, I'm telling you, nobody would have anything to say to you. Did you ever notice that people would rather stop talking to you instead of apologizing when they're wrong? That's something that happens on the daily. Again, I'm going to say that question again. Do you ever notice that people would rather stop talking to you instead of owning up to what they did by apologizing when they're wrong? A lot of people choose to go out and say, they choose not to face their adversity. They choose to just allow it to fizzle out on its own, and they want it to dissolve. They think it's just going to magically disappear. But I'm telling you, you create a problem, what you reap, you will sow. What you decide to do with your life, the decisions that you make now will affect you. A lot of people see that from elementary school to high school to graduation. The decisions you make in school, whether you choose to be smart, whether you choose to do your work, whether you choose to be on time to class, whether you choose to be in attendance, it will reflect how you graduate, what colleges you get into, your GPA. It's just like life. The people you let into your life over the years, the things that you allow to come into your life, the things that you watch, the things that you listen to, the things that you have surrounded around you will impact your life for the positive or the negative. It's your choice. It's what road will you choose to walk on. Instead of just waiting for your situation to dissolve, instead of just waiting for somebody else to say, "Oh, I'm sorry," or to try to make excuses for your situation that you created, it's just easy to admit that you were wrong. And a lot of people are stubborn. They don't want to be the person who says, "Okay, I'm sorry. I actually was the one who ended up hurting you. I decided I didn't want to be your friend at one point, and so I just stopped. I decided I didn't want to be with you, so a lot of people don't take blame for the things that they do. And I believe that if people decided to own up to their mistakes and own up to what they do, then the world would be better. I mean, if people owned up to the fact of what has happened in the past, our past would not be returning now, where there's so much racism, where there's so much hatred. If we took the time to stop blaming others for things that we did, that we created, the circumstances we created, we would be better off. So you have to own up to who you are. You have to own up to just being yourself. You have to own up to being the person that you were created to be. And you can't blame other people for your mistakes. Now I want to go into my second reason why people don't own up to who they are. And that's because they blame God for their mistakes. You can't blame God for doing things. He will only put so much in your life that you handle. But God does not purposely do things. He does not purposely drag you down. His purpose was never to break you down on a constant basis. You have to look into yourself and say, what am I doing wrong? Instead of automatically saying, oh, it's God's fault. It's God's fault, the reason I'm here. You can't sit here and say, oh, it's God's fault that I'm not in college, that I'm not a nurse, I'm not this, but then you goofed around in school and didn't do anything to help the situation. God can't meet you halfway if you don't do the steps to do it with him. It's as simple as that. You have to stop blaming God for the messes that you put yourself in at times. You can't, let me give you an example. You can't sit there and walk in front of a car knowing traffic's going around, knowing there's people driving. You can't sit there and walk out in front of a car and expect not to get hit. God can't just magically move somebody out the way. It's not magic. You can't just do something knowing that you're going to get hurt and then blame God for, oh, why did I end up being with this person? God told you not to be friends with this person. You did it anyway and you got hurt. But then you want to blame him. It's not his fault. You allowed the situation to happen. It was you that made those poor choices and those bad decisions. It was you who chose to go left when God said go right. It was you who decided to do those things. You can't blame him for the things that you create. God created us, but he gave us free will. That's why there's so much going on in the world. That's why people are hating on each other, because God created us to do certain things. Now, a lot of people, they don't decide to walk in their purpose. They do things that are going to harm others. They do things to hurt others because they are hurt. So you can't be mad at the things that you create. You can't blame God for something he didn't do. And if those bad situations happen, all you need to do is ask God for forgiveness, take responsibility for your actions, and he will lead you into the right direction to make your life better. But if you constantly sit there and say, oh, God did this, that's the reason I don't have a job, that's the reason I don't do that, because God doesn't like me, God doesn't do that. God has so much love for us. It's up to you to choose to accept him and choose to allow him in your heart. You can't blame him for everything. Oh, there's people, that's why people in Africa don't have food. We have free will. We are humans. God can only do so much, but he gives us room to experiment. He gives us room to make mistakes and grow. Because like I said in the beginning, the mistakes that we do teach us lessons. And from those lessons, we learn how to better our future. If you are a child, another example, if you're a child and the child ends up running into the door and you tell them not to do it, but they do it anyway, that's a mistake that they made. So the next day they go back, they run back up to that door and they hit themselves again after you told them not to run up. They make another mistake, but that third day they go back to run up and they remember what happened when they were about to do what they wanted to do, and they learn from their mistake. We all learn from the things that go on in our life. You can't constantly blame God, because God doesn't plan sin, he doesn't plan mess, and he doesn't plan foolishness. You can't blame him for things that are made for man. You can't blame him for the things you create. That's you. He can only do so much for you if you allow him. But if he's constantly saying, hey, I'm here, I'm going to be here for you, I'm going to constantly love you, I'm going to give you salvation, I'm going to do this, but you constantly walk away like it's nothing, then if you were in his position, would you want to keep helping somebody? If somebody kept coming up to you and you keep saying, I'm here for you, I'm going to help you, but then they walk off and they say, I don't need you, I'm not going to follow what you're saying, a lot of people would not care and be like, fine, they don't need to. And just like that. So imagine if God did that with your life. We would not be anywhere we are right now. That is the reason that Jesus died on the cross. And that is the reason why we are here today. If you are wrong, if you continuously blame God for your mistakes, you can't grow up. So you have to own up to who you are and be the person that you were created to be. Now, one thing for that last point, some people create their storms but get upset when it rains. Perfect example. It has been storming in Tallahassee all day. It finally cleared up. It finally stopped raining, but it has been raining all weekend. Now, you have, when I say those metaphorical storms, you have those times where, I'm going to keep gossiping. I'm going to allow this person to come in my life and I'm going to talk mess with them about somebody else. And you're going to keep doing that. But then the minute they do it to you, it's a problem. The minute they go behind your back and talk about you, then you're upset, yet you were doing the same thing about somebody else. You can't get mad about the things that you do, that you create, and then when it turns into a whole big mess, you're like, oh Lord, what am I going to do? Why is this happening to me? You created it. Simple as that. You created it. So choose to be the writer of your own story and own up to who you are. Now, the last thing, some people are afraid. Some people don't own up to who they are because they are a little bit shy. They're a little bit afraid. But some days you have to create your own sunshine. There's going to be those days where it's rainy, where it's cloudy. You're not going to have the best days. Nobody's normal. Nobody is going to have perfect days. But you can choose to create your own sunshine. If somebody is constantly telling you, you can't do this, you can't do that, instead of sulking and getting upset because of what they're saying, the best way to fight somebody back, the best way to show somebody that you don't care is by proving them wrong, not by doing exactly what they're saying you do. But when somebody is saying, "Ooh, you can't make it," and you sit there and hide and say, "Well, maybe they're right. Maybe I shouldn't be doing what I wanted to do." You're doing exactly what you want them to do. And as being as stubborn as you want to be, if you want to prove somebody wrong, if somebody keeps saying, "Ooh, you're not going to be a doctor. Ooh, you're not going to do this," prove them wrong. And I bet you then they'll come back and be like, "Oh, you remember me? You remember this?" No, because they doubted you. Somebody may have doubted you. People may doubt you. People may try to take away your happiness. People may try to do things, but you are the one that possesses the keys to your being. You carry the passport to your happiness. You carry your life and you carry your purpose. So you have to walk in it. You have to own up to who you are. Be your beautiful self. If you're different, if your skin complexion's different, own it. Find those ways. If you want to find ways, maybe you like makeup, maybe you like certain things. Find yourself. Find those ways. If your hair isn't necessarily that well, find ways, find different things to make your hair look good. Find ways to be confident. You don't have to let anybody make you feel bad about yourself just because you're different. Because our different and uniqueness makes us who we are. Us being different, I promise you, if everybody looked like you, if everybody did the same thing you do, you would be aggravated with them. That's why I don't get the whole sense of hatred, because they're picking on several different features of everybody. But our differences make us who we are, and our differences make us stronger. So you don't have to ever let anybody subjectify you, objectify you. You don't have to ever let somebody try to put you in a box, try to label you. Own up to who you are, because you are beautiful and wonderfully made. And again, when you're owning up to who you are, you're going to have, like I said, those moments where you made a mistake. Never forget those moments, because those moments will teach you. Those moments will motivate you to keep going. I saw what I did in the past, so I'm not going to go back there, because I know if I go back to my past, then it's going to alter my future. Never forget how far you've come. All the things that you've pushed, all the things you have pushed on, even when you felt you couldn't. All the mornings you got out of bed, no matter how hard it was. All the times you wanted to give up, but you got through another day. Never forget how much strength you have developed along the way, because you are strong. And a part of owning up to who you are is being mature, maturing in who you are. And in order to mature, there's going to be those moments where you revisit something in your past. Something may pop up, but because you develop that sense of you're stronger, and you have that mindset, well, I'm not going to allow it to defeat me. I've learned from my mistakes. I've learned how this has affected me. So if those moments pop up where I may feel sad, those moments pop up where I may feel a certain way, I can lean on my happiness. I can lean on God, and I can lean on my past situations to learn from what happened and reflect. Everything you do is based on the decisions you make. You can't be mad at anything that goes on. You are the one who pushes yourself, who fuels yourself. God is the one who is giving you air, who's allowing you to do things. But you are the one who controls what way you're going. You're controlling if you're going to go down a straight path where you're going to see all those beautiful destinations, or you're going to go on that bumpy path where sometimes you're in a high place and you're in a low place and you're over here, then you over there. You control where you go, what you do. A lot of people don't like to admit they're wrong because they're either too prideful or stuck in their own beliefs. But sometimes the best thing you can do is admit that you're wrong. This last piece, this is what I'm going to leave off with, just this thing that one, like I said earlier, people don't admit to what they do. They're so prideful, they're so stuck in their self that they blame everybody else for their decisions. And that's not right. You can't blame somebody else for something that you did. You have to own up to who you are. You have to be your own self, your best self that you can be, because you only get one life. Instead of focusing on all those negative things and focusing on the things that you can change and the things that you wish were different, take those situations, take those mistakes, those bad decisions, learn from it, and see what you can do. How do you expect to learn more or see a new perspective if you always think you're right? How do you expect to get to a better place, to grow up, to own up to who you are if you always think you're right? Learn to let go of your ego and approach life with an open mind. Because when you have that open mind, you are able to grow up and you are able to be the best you that you can possibly be. That is all that I really wanted to say. My main point is just to be yourself and own up to who you are. You can't be mad at the world when you make bad decisions. If you need to work on yourself, if you need to work on being a better person, then do that. If you want to be successful, then be it. If you made a mistake and learn from it, don't dwell on it. If you constantly put up a mask and lie about who you are, you will get further and further away from discovering yourself. You must be the young woman/man of God that you have been created to be. You can't change your situations and circumstances, but in order to change your mindset and change those, it starts with you. I am so glad to have come on tonight and just give a nice message, something nice that you can take from this message came to me, and I just feel like it is so prescient because there's so many people who are trying to be like others. They don't want to be their own selves. They want to be like society, whether that's trying to alter themselves by getting augmentations. They just don't want to recognize their differences. But you have to own up to who you are. And if you make a bad mistake, you're human. We all make mistakes, but don't dwell on them. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their week. This is going to just be an amazing time. I enjoy coming on every Sunday at 7:21 p.m. to talk with you all and just be able to encourage, whether it's one person watching, whether it's a bunch of people. My whole mission is to inspire and to help people. So thank you to those who are watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything you've done. I love you all so much. Don't forget that we have the KCK Youth Care 2 tees. They are available for purchase on the Kaylin's Caring Connection website. You can go to www.kaylinscaringconnection.com/shop and you'll be able to purchase a tee in honor and in our ongoing those proceeds from the sale will help go to the ongoing efforts of honoring youth caregivers and allowing them to know that we see them and we care. By purchasing the shirt, you're joining the KCK Youth Caregiver Awareness Movement. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you for tuning into the show. I hope you learned something from the KCK Inspiring Moments with Kaylin Live podcast. You all motivate me so much. I love you all, and we'll be on next Sunday if the Lord says the same. Bye and stay inspired.